So, and there we go. Hi, everyone. Hello. What is the last thing I did over here? I don't know. I'm a little far today. I'm wearing my brother's shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts. It's a bar on campus. My favorite bar got closed down. Well, first my favorite bar stopped doing fish bowls on Thursday. Then they stopped doing half-price appetizers. No, they stopped doing the half-price appetizers first. They always did the fish bowls, then they got shut down. But this bar started to win my heart a little bit because they do free shirts on Thursdays. So I could turn it with a fish bowl at one bar and then cross the street and get my free shirt at the other. That's actually what happened when I got this, because I think this is one of the first shirts I got. I think this is the first shirt I got. And we were across the street, and one of my friends was like, oh, at 10 o'clock they give out free shirts. And we're like, ain't nobody trying to be out here that late. And then he convinced us. It's not about the bars, okay? This is about whatever this is going to be about. Why am I pulling up my phone? Oh. How's everybody doing? I'm feeling kind of good, honestly. I'm kind of feeling really good. I just submitted an assignment that I've basically been sitting on for almost a whole month now. I'm about to get back to work doing all the things. You haven't been working in vain. Okay, that's the last thing I talked about. I can't remember if it was on this channel or another one when I was like, I'm just curious what September has to offer us, the collective. Oh snap, they all came out of the box this time. Look at that. What was the one that was stuck in there? I think it was number 20. The garden. It was the garden. And it's like at the bottom of the deck too, isn't it? Yep, the garden, number 20. I'm going to be using the Mirror Truth Lenormand, so I'm going to be trying to intuit these. Then I'm also going to be using the internet because you can look up combinations of Lenormand cards, and they'll give you what it could be. And so we're going to be doing that as well, and then we'll compare, right? So September, when I tried to tap into September, it was interesting because it wasn't interesting. When September came out, it was just like, oh, September looks like whatever you've been doing, but maybe like the fulfillment of that. And I've recently been getting a little bit more into Water Baby Tarot, and she uploaded Water Baby Tarot presented by Balmy Spirit, and she just posted her little thing for the new moon tonight in the US, because she said it was like 7 Pacific, I think. So that's like today in the US. It's tomorrow in the rest of the world because we're behind. And we see that more now than ever. Sorry, I'm a little spicy today. It's fine. There's a lot of fire in the sky right now. There's a grand trine in the sky right now in fire. I have a grand fire trine. Now, my grand fire trine is like 17, 18 degrees. And the one in the sky is like 26 is where the sun and the moon will be. Mars is like 25. And then the South Node is at like 27. Let's see. Mars is at 24, almost 25. Sun and Moon will be at 26. And then, yeah, 27. 25, 26, 27, roughly. Interesting. And mine is like 17 and 18, so it's pretty far-ish from the Trinon right now. But she said that, like, so we're going to be having the Pisces full moon, and then Mars is going to retrograde in Aries. But Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are all going to go direct. And she was like, so, you know, we'll probably be feeling, like, pretty good when they all go direct. I'm over here like, if you ain't been doing whatever you was supposed to be learning how to do while they was retrograde, now they about to go direct. And which is why I feel like when I initially came across September, which is when a lot of that direct action is going to be happening, it was like, oh yeah, it looks like whatever we've been setting ourselves up for is what we're going to be getting, more or less. I don't know what I'm doing today. I just submitted that assignment and I feel get someone to come on for a second and just pull a few cards. So let's see what's said. Let's see what's said. Ooh, interesting. This is what we're going to do. Oh, snap! Bottom of the deck is cornucopia. Did I say hi? I think I said hi. How are y'all? I think I said all that. Bottom of the deck is cornucopia. We're going to get 3 sets of cards. Hopefully, preferably face down. If it ain't face down, we put in it back. They all face down. And then you can pick one if you want. I'm not going to timestamp these. I say that now, but if they go extremely long, I might. I probably won't. I'm going to get 3. My intention is to get 3 pairs. But if it comes out, if one of them has a triplet, that's fine. Excuse me. We'll take them in the order they come out as well. We'll flip them. So right now we have Crossroad. Why is this in reverse? Tree was in reverse. That might be the only one that's like in no, there's a few of them. Okay. We got Crossroad and Tree in reverse at the bottom of the deck, and they're both green. There's a lot of green in, well, look at what's at the top of the mountain for the Crossroad. It is the tree. That's interesting. It's been a long winding road. See, it has been a long and winding road. But just like the temple path, there is only one path up that little hill. And it's not straight. And I feel like that's important. Or it's interesting. I feel like that's interesting. There is one path, and it is not straight. So if you haven't been on the straight and narrow, it doesn't necessarily mean you've been deviating from getting to this tree. Because, I mean, look at the path to get to the tree. Right? The tree is number 22. And, no, Crossroad is number 22, and the tree is number 5. Now that's a little bit, that's like 4.5-ish. That's 4.5-ish. 22.5 would be exactly 4.5. So that's a 4-4-4-2. Right? Oh, wait, what am I doing? I need to flip them over. Well, now we have Lily and the coffin at the bottom with the lady. So, if I flip these up right, though. Ooh, and the rider is behind the lady with the clover behind that. It's giving me the energy that with the rider and the clover, that's like, it's like fortunate comings and goings. We have the lady, the coffin, and she's looking at it. And I guess if she's looking at it, then that's all in her future. The coffin and the lily. Something had to go. It's like this lady is bringing flowers to the funeral. And lilies are... I was watching... Jabami is her name. It's the gambling anime. Kekkei Genkai? Not Kekkei Genkai. Oh, it's a gambling anime, and in this one scene, she's like, lilies are beautiful. I'm actually, since these 3 wanted to come down back here, I'm actually going to put these here, even though they're kind of sort of in between. I'll give them to this. She was like, lilies are beautiful flowers, but they're poisonous if you eat them. And it's like, okay, well, who's going around eating lilies? But... ah, that's funny. The moon card just fell. It just reminded me, and at the bottom of the deck is that rider. It's like riders on a storm. It's coming in the space of the night. Unexpected. Maybe also with the lady facing a coffin and the lilies, it could be a situation that was previously thought dead is going to be coming back to life. It's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't dead. I was taking a nap. Have you ever read Romeo and Juliet? Put that bottle down, Juliet. I'm only sleeping. Or put the dagger down. I forget what she did. I didn't read it or watch it. Boy likes girl, girl likes boy. They both die, cry, cry, cry at the end. That's all I know. That was from That's So Raven. Ooh, now the heart and the scythe. Oh, there's the tree. The heart and the scythe at the bottom of the deck. The heart upright to me, the scythe in reverse to me. I read all these upright, so it doesn't really matter. But the last time I saw the scythe in reverse, it was losing something, but not really. Last time I saw the scythe, it came out next to the garden and the gate. And in the energy oracle cards, the garden and the gate, it's like there is peace and security and stability inside the garden, but we need to escape our comfort zones in order to in order to attain that true expansive energy. And so with the scythe coming out in reverse, it was like there's something that's being, it's like if you're a child and you have a favorite animal, stuffed animal, teddy bear, and your favorite teddy bear has a tear in it, and you have a parent, guardian, babysitter, older person come and take your teddy bear away from you. Or they're like, hey, like, give me your teddy bear. And you're like, no. And they're like, give me your bear. And they're like, no. So you take it, or they take it. And then you cry because they took the bear from you, but then they give it back. And what they were doing was like, there was a tear in the bear, and they wanted to stitch up a stitch in time saves 9. They wanted to stitch the little tear in the bear before his whole arm fell off, and you threw a whole temper tantrum. So there was a period of walking away, but for good reason, right? Now, if you discover what that reason was while you went outside the gate, then, you know, you get to come back to the garden with new seeds and a new lease on life, and or you can decide to go to another garden, right? If you never left the garden, and if you never went outside the gate, then you probably, there's a chance that maybe you've missed out on something that could have really been, oh, that's way too much, but it ain't face down, so I ain't taking it anyway. But we have the sun, the cross, rider, and clover. Now that is very interesting energy. The sun into the cross, that's vitality and divinity. That's like, you got it. Like, you got it. The high priestess had this whole little riddle for you. You pieced it together. You got it. You figured it out. And now with the rider and the clover, that's your own, and the fish under that, that's your own sort of fortunate comings and goings. It's like now you can move forward in a way that is cute, sexy, flirty, fun, and free. Flirty, fun, and free. With life, right? I wish I could, like, just straighten up my posture. I don't even know if I'm like, I am. Oh, snap. Hey, Zelda. 3:57. Oh, I'm a whole minute behind. How you doing, Zelda? I'm really bad at paying attention to the chat. What is this? I think it's the anchor. Yeah, okay. No, it might have been this ring. I keep seeing this, and it almost looks like a card back. And I'm like, is there a card flipped over in here somewhere? Alright, so let's get these last two. Maybe. Don't be coy. Come daydream with me. Closed loops and future proof. Cardboard to caviar. Let's show them how good we are. That is Imogen Heap. Me and the Machine. Oof. You had a flat tire today, but you got it fixed, and you're hanging out with your daughter right now, and it's good to see me. Well, it's good to see you too. And sorry you got a flat tire, but glad you got it fixed, and time with the daughter sounds fun. I wish I could spend time with my mother. I could if she wanted to. Who this? Oh, the bear. The bear is out and the ship is here. And then Crossroad is right there again. So with the bear and the ship, the bear is giving me that energy of hibernation. The ship is a ship. And so there's been this The ship has been docked at this port for so long, people probably thought it was for decoration. It's like every day I come here because I'm a fisherman or a portsman, somebody who just be down at the port. Every time I come here, the ship is always there. Does that ship ever go anywhere? And then it's like one day you go there and the ship isn't there. Or one day you go there and someone's like, hey, get on board. And you're like, what? I don't even know you. It's like you come down to the port every day. And I haven't been watching you, but I've observed some things. And it's not a creepy man in a van with candy, but there is this magical, whimsical adventure waiting for you. And you're like, what? This ship has been docked for a very, very long time, and it's time for the ship to take off. But there was also, in the space of winter, so a bear eats and eats and eats and eats in preparation to hibernate. So in the space of winter, it's like we've already eaten all of the food that we need in this time of rest, in this time of separation, in this time of bleakness. And what's going to sustain us through this time, or our purpose and our purpose and function in this time, is the internal alchemy, the gastrointestinal workings. It's digesting all of this food that we ate, right? Because if the bear ain't sleep for as long as it sleep for, I mean, I guess if it was super active, then it would be fine. But it's just like that's the purpose right now. The purpose is to digest the things that you've already eaten. It's to do all of that internal work and then to reemerge when the spring is here. And, you know, you hear that bell, that ding, ding, ding. The ship is about to take off. Work! Well, this one came out upright, so... Gentlemen! With the cross at the bottom of the deck. Okay, gentlemen, we've seen the lady and the gentleman. I like this energy. You don't see her every day. So getting to see her is special. Oh, I like that. That's fun. I don't see my brother every day, and we both live in the same house. Sorry. But yeah, I like that. That's cute. So we got our last two. Work. And like I said, I ain't going to timestamp this. Even though I want to timestamp this, I'm not going to do it. We're just going to flow today. I'm not going to look at the time. But the gentleman with the cross. And we saw the lady. But like I was saying. So we're going to have the gentleman in the cross at the bottom with cornucopia at the bottom of the deck over here. Interesting. And well, let's see what's behind the cross. Behind the cross is the scythe, and now the scythe is upright. And behind the scythe is that crossroads again. So, the gentleman, the cross, or the scythe, the cross, and the gentleman. The cross is 36. I'm pretty sure it's the last card in this deck. It's a 9. Oh! We have a 10, a 9, and another 10. So remember how, I think the scythe came out with the lady. I can't remember where the scythe came out. Yeah. We're on, it's like we live in different hemispheres of the world. We're both awake right now, but that doesn't happen too often this early in the day. So first the scythe was in reverse. The scythe was in reverse. The lady was bringing the flowers to the coffin. The lilies. The lady was bringing the lilies to the coffin. Mourning something. After the third day, this gentleman rose from the coffin when the lady was showing up with these lilies. And the gentleman was like, oh, hey, what's up? And the lady is just like jaw on the ground. She don't know if it's a miracle, if it's a zombie, or what. She's a little confused. She might be a little confused. But with the scythe now upright, like I said, with the scythe in reverse, it's almost like you're giving up something to get it back. But in the space of not having it, it's like you can know in the back of your mind that you'll get it back. But there are things for you to do while you don't have it. Right? With the scythe and the cross, I feel like it's time for this to come back now. And what's interesting is that, like, it's almost like the action is being undone. It's like you take a scythe and you cut all the wheat, right? But then it's like we reverse that and the wheat goes back up. That's interesting. 10, 36, and 28. That's a 1, a 9, and another 1. 10 and 36 is 46. And then 46 and 28 is 74, which is an 11. Interesting. That's cute. Right? Let's see. Hey Siri, what is 10 plus 36 plus 28?
10 plus 36 plus 28 is 74.
74. 11. Nice. Cute. Work. We got an 11 and we got cornucopia. Now, I'm going to have to get on my phone and look up. I want to see what the internet tells me that this means. What is this? Scythe. Oops. Scythe. Cross. Gentleman. Or it might be man. Lenormand. To take hold of the reins and use them. What is that? To take hold of the reins and use them. That specific line of that song just came to mind. But then there's another. That song is to take hold of the reins and use them, and we've seen the writer a few times. But there's another song where they say, it's like something about, I give you the keys, but while you take them, you don't use them. So maybe that was the past. But now we're using the keys, and Spirit has been giving us the keys since like February, honestly. Or not honestly, but you know. Come on, come on. Thank you. For the cross and the, or for the scythe and the cross, I got it, but I really want to learn the Lenormands more. And I could just, the scythe is number 10, so that'll be the first one that we come across. I could just read the book, but that's too much. It ain't too much, but 2 combinations. What about the 3 combinations? I want the 3. Where the 3? Where the 3? Girl, come on, come on. Okay, so they don't give me 3 card combinations on this website. So the scythe is about transformation, basically, right? And so I'm going to work the scythe into the gentleman and the... No. 9, 36, the cross. The cross and the gentleman. That's what it was. Come on. Well, on some websites you can get 3. I found 3 card interpretations before. Must not have been on this website. It's fun. Ew, this cross is a little janky looking. Look rusted. So, cross into the gentleman. Gentleman was number 28. Oh, look at that. Cute. Cute. Maybe I should timestamp this, because this is taking a minute. But I ain't gonna do it. Am I gonna do it though? No. The cross and the man. Man's troubles and stressed man. So this is the end of the stressed man's troubles. That was interesting. And again, so cross and scythe is problems from an accident, difficulties with decision, and then problems swiftly resolved. So if the cross comes before that, it's like the separation happened first, then is the divinity, and then is this man. Excuse me. If the cross came first, it's like we would understand before it happens, or it's like we would know that we need to let something go and we walk away from it. With the cross coming after the scythe, it's that space of the transformation happening first. And then it's like, okay, like what can I take from the situation? The trick is that if that isn't necessarily the approach that we take after that scythe happened, if we're not looking at why, if we're not doing all of the things that the divine is trying to communicate to us to do without words, then there may be some issue with this man being free of whatever he was in before. And when the lady approaches his coffin with flowers, he's still going to be in a coffin. Now, if the man done all the stuff that he needed to do, then she'll come to the coffin crying and weeping. She's like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe this happened. And then she gets a pat on the back, like, they're there, it's okay. It's like, what do you mean they're there, it's okay? I lost him. And he's like, lost who? And then she's like, the man who's supposed to be in this coffin. And he's like, oh, like me? And then she looks over. She's like, oh my gosh, you're not dead. It's like, no, I was going through it. But I made it out alive. On the other side, barely, but here. And then they go off and do whatever, right? Now, it's the thing about the crossroad in this card, it is at the bottom of the deck, so I'll just show you. The thing about the crossroad is you only see the path up this side of the hill. We don't know what the path looks like on the other side of the hill, right? Under the crossroad is the clover. So we're also kind of sort of in this space where we make our own fortune. But the fortune that we make is determined by how we perceive the situation. Because the situation happens first. And then it's up for us to interpret what happens. Now, I am going to look up 3 card Lenormand combinations. Not a spread, combinations. Ooh, see, here we go. Oh, that's a spread. That's another spread. Here we go. Well, sure, we'll just go for it. Well, no, because this is just an article, so it ain't going to give me the whole breakdown. Subject, verb, adverb. Contract changes quickly. Oh, cute. Is this a scythe? No, that's a ring. The ring is a contract, duh. The stork is changes. And then the scythe is quickly. So if the scythe is quick... Oh. Well, if the scythe is quick, then we may not have too much more time left to figure out whatever this cross is. Also, the slowest thing here is the cross. The scythe it's a 10. It's already in the next cycle. It's already taken the next step. The man is another 10. It's already taken the next step. The scythe is a 9. Or the cross is the 9. But the cross being a 9 is perfect. Because it's like, what more is there, right? But with the cross being the lowest number, numerologically, well, it's the highest number because 10 is a 1. It's like that cross is what it's what's preventing this new cycle. If there isn't a new cycle, it's because of the cross. And all we can do when it comes to cross energy is line up with it, honestly. So let's see what we got over here. Ooh, oh. I love this energy. The numbers here are 6, 33, which is another 6, and 16, which is a 6 with the 1 in front of it. So we got 6, 6, 7. 6, 33, and 16. Now, crossroads is that 22. So we're seeing 22 and 13. We've seen 22 a lot. And here's the 33. The colors are purple, blue, and blue. Crown, third eye, third eye. The cards are clouds. You can see it's dark on one side, light on the other side. Clouds can usually be confusing. It's kind of sort of like a moon-ish energy, like not getting the whole picture. And then we come into the 33, which is the key. Keys unlock things. And what does it unlock? It unlocks the 16, which is the 7, which is the star. Clouds, key, star. Now, it's interesting that the star is number 16 when in the tarot the star is number 17. So, this star just got closer. And that's the thing about cloud energy, though. It's almost like we can't really tell how close the star actually is. I know it doesn't quite necessarily work like this, but it's like if you have a pair of glasses, but you're wearing them backwards. Let's say you have a monocle, because then that's easier to visualize, right? You have a monocle, but you're wearing it backwards. So it makes things appear farther than they actually are, rather than putting them in the proper perspective, in the proper distance. 16 in the tarot is also the number of the tower. So, if you've been sitting in a dark, cold, dusty cellar waiting for somebody to set you free, Cinderella. If you've realized while the fog has been so thick that you have to rescue yourself, Cinderella, then you'll be able to rendezvous with Prince Charming. And the same goes for Prince Charming to Cinderella. But I feel like on Prince Charming's side, it's like if you show up to the tower and ain't nobody there, but all you do is keep searching the tower instead of like moving on from an obviously empty tower, then you're never going to find your Cinderella, because it was her journey to rescue herself. And if her journey is to rescue herself, Prince Charming, then what is your journey? Now that's something that Prince Charming has to figure out, because what he was supposed to do, she's already done for herself. And what he was supposed to do, quote unquote, she needed to realize and recognize that it was for her to do for herself. But now Prince Charming is in this space where he doesn't know what to do with himself, because everything that he was supposed to do kind of sort of didn't work, fell apart. Wasn't how he expected it to be. He thought he'd be this knight that would come in and save the day. But now he's lost. Well, he's chilling at the bottom of the deck. So, again, this is where our Prince Charming is sitting. Maybe swiftly realizing that he needed to do something else. But if the something else that he needs to do isn't divinely aligned, he's gonna... It's like, where is Prince Charming going to get some direction from? Where is Prince Charming going to get his information? Or is Prince Charming just going to keep trying tower after tower after tower after tower after tower until he finds a damsel in distress? He might do that. Some of y'all might say y'all got some Prince Charmings who just going to search all these towers for all of these other damsels. Never quite learning the lesson. It's very Mario. Your princess is in another tower, Mario. Your princess is in another tower, Mario. Your princess is in another tower, Mario. But if you ask the developer will tell you, your princess isn't in this tower or the 15 towers you've already checked or in the next 35 you're going to check, because she freed herself. Your princess is out there in the world somewhere. Now, why don't you take a journey discover what it is that you want in this life. And maybe while you're out there doing that for you, you'll come across her. Maybe it'll happen like that. Wouldn't it be funny if it happened like that? You're just out there living your life one day, trying to do your little soul growth, doing your little healing, your elevation, your work, and you click in onto a video, and then you just see somebody like, hold up, is she royalty? She ain't in that tower. It looked like she might still be working through her tower, and I'm still working through my tower, but is that my princess? Have we found each other out here? Like, no way, right? Maybe, potentially, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe y'all meet at the fish market, and maybe you work at the port, and the princess, your princess, is actually on this ship that's been docked at this port forever. And your princess spotted you. And your princess had her guard, because, you know, she free from the tower, so she back in her royalty status, so she got people again. Your princess sends her guard to get you to go to the ship. Maybe the princess is in hiding or in waiting. I don't like hiding. The princess is in waiting and she's not trying to cause a scene. So she has her guard call you to the boat so she can reveal herself. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I've been down here going to the port fighting the sea every day. The sea of emotion. And you were literally docked in this boat the whole time? It's like, yeah. I've been resting from that tower that I just freed myself from. What's that? It's a story, right? Now let's try to get into this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cloud key and then key star. Key star. Is that a thing? I know King Star might be. The drama dude or something? I had a friend that watched him. Let me stop. I'm sorry. Keystar. Keystar sounds like something. Keystar Insurance, Keystar Industries. What do you do, Keystar? Where are you based? Keystar Auto World. Specializes in new and used Subaru, Mitsubishi, and Kia vehicles. Conveniently located in North Brisbane. Brisbane, like Australia? Question mark? I have a friend who, I guess he just went back to Brisbane. He was in Alice Springs for a while. I didn't even know he was like a archaeologist or an anthropologist type of person. I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I was like, what? That's so interesting. He was like, yeah. I was like, oh, word, cute. Now this is, yeah, .com.au. Wow, Brisbane, Australia. I literally just saw Brisbane. Is it Brisbane or Brisbane? I don't know. I think it's Brisbane. Hey Siri, where is Brisbane?
Okay, here's Brisbane, Australia.
Yeah, Brisbane. Okay, work. Hey Siri, how far is Brisbane, Australia?
I'm not sure how far away Brisbane, Australia is by car, but it's about 8,913 miles as the crow flies.
8,913 miles. That's a 21.3. Halfway around the world, or all the way around the world, because that's a 21, right? 10, 11, 21. Yeah, okay, work. Brisbane. Oh, I was going to do this, sorry. Brisbane is a thing now. That's the second time I've seen Brisbane in the past 48 hours. He doesn't even post on Instagram that much. What's interesting is, so he's this like really cute Australian dude who would kind of sort of hit on me. But see, my thing in the past was like he was only going to be on campus for a semester because he was doing like a study abroad type thing. And I was like, well, he's not going to stick around, so why would I entertain that? And he was just relentless, and I would just be like taken out. And then Callum, the other Australian dude, he was probably in on it. Now, what's interesting about this dude is one of the first times I had seen him, he actually talked about going on a date with a dude. But when he said that, it just sounded like he was open to it. It didn't sound like he was actually like looking for it. And so last year, I thought about him, and so I reached out to him. Yeah, it was last year, January, like January 2019. And yeah, so he just went back to Brisbane. He's pretty cute. Not really my type. And I don't really have a type, so that said something. I feel like that was rude AF. I don't really have a type. Um, but yeah, let's get back to this. Sorry. But that's the second time Brisbane has showed up. That's really interesting. I might hit him up, low key. Low key, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, out of Alice Springs, how did it go? Right? What am I looking for? Clouds and key. Clouds, key. Lenormand. Clouds combinations. Do-do-do. This is not helpful. Yeah, something told me to just use the first website I pulled up, and that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, he had me because like there was this one time I had made it was in my Japanese class we had to do a personal narrative basically, and we could either tell it or we could do it in a multimedia format. Is this still? No, I don't think it's on YouTube. I think it's no. I feel like I've seen it. Maybe I still have the flash drive that I put it on. I did a Draw My Life video because they were kind of sort of, it was after the initial wave of it when everybody was doing it, but it was still in my mind, so it wasn't too long after it. I was like, oh, so I'll just do this as a Draw My Life video. So I did it in Japanese. And my artistic skills, not the best. My artistic skills are like the rest of me. Sometimes they're like on point, sometimes they're not. I have been featured locally. Fun fact about me, I guess. I took art classes all of elementary school because we had art and Spanish at my elementary. And then I did art in 6th grade and 7th grade because it was like you do art for one semester and then you do keyboarding for one semester. But in the 8th grade, you do the thing for the full year. So I had to pick either art or keyboarding, and I chose keyboarding. I actually might have my art books in that tub up there. Is that the tub? There's a tub in here somewhere. Because I know I've seen it recently ish. Anyway, I was going to show one of my friends that video. And I was like, hey, look at this. And he was like, oh, yes, Patrick, you do look very handsome today or something like that. And of course, like, I don't know how red I turned, but I blushed a little bit. He would just mess with me, and I would never go. But at that point in my life, I also wasn't in a space to, and I knew that. So that's another reason why I didn't pursue it. But it was interesting. Clouds. Okay, back to this. Enough about that. But maybe that's something else. Maybe somebody been barking up your tree for a minute and you never gave them the time of day, but maybe one day you will. You know? Maybe one day you will. Clouds card combinations. This is what I was looking for. So we're going to go from the clouds into the key, and then we'll do from the key into the stars. Yeah, I was like, how did I already forget? Keystar. I guess Keystar took me to Brisbane. Clouds, and this is 33. Wow. Wow. Oh, wait, it's right here. So clouds and key is resolution, and the answer is found. And this is speaking to everything I was talking about with the cross into, or with the scythe into the cross. This is also like a few months ago, like March maybe. I was like, there's this fog that's going to be rolling in, and the fog is rolling in because it's like we're manifesting this fog for the purpose of illumination, activation, awakening, and disrupting the evils in this holographic reality in the Matrix, right? To expose the Matrix. But the thing about the fog that rolled in is it's not necessarily selective of the light that it disrupts and that it diffracts, right? It kind of sort of it's kind of sort of non-discriminating. So it kind of plunged the world into a darkness that people weren't expecting when they were manifesting it. Now, the world that resulted, or the plunging into the darkness that resulted as this fog rolled in, it's like the world wouldn't have become as dark as it did if that's what we were manifesting and pushing towards, a 5D reality and unity consciousness and all of this grand, amazing, fantastic things. Like, the further we are from being in that space, the darker it will be. And look how dark things got, right? But in that darkness is the opportunity for us to rise into what it is that we're actually asking for. That was the intention of the divine behind it. That's why the divine allowed for such darkness to roll onto the planet, to put us in a space to actually awaken. But to actually awaken, and to awaken to the level that we're asking, to awaken to the level required to get what it was that we were asking for, requires a lot of self-work, loads of self-work. And it also, in my opinion, now that part, the self-work, I feel like that's fairly agreed upon. In my opinion, it also requires for us to look at the world around us and to no longer see ourselves as above that world or outside of that world. In the way of, what are the things that we sort of passively allow to happen in our reality because they don't affect us? Because if we're coming into something 5D, if we're coming into unity consciousness, I feel like a lot of times when we think about unity consciousness, it's almost like it collapses around us. And it's like everyone is a reflection of me, ergo, therefore, I am the center of the universe. And that's not necessarily the case. Unity consciousness in a higher space, we have to match that. That doesn't necessarily match us, but what we experience on the outside is like the disparity between us and that space that we need to reach. And so the darker things are in your life, probably the more you need to really realign and recenter there. And everyone is going through this recentering. The darkness is almost a function of resistance at the same time. But that's why I was like, I really like this energy, because the darkness, the chaos, the confusion is the key to everything that we've been hoping for, everything that we've been wanting. We have to become those who are worthy of getting it, who are worthy of receiving it. And it isn't necessarily a worth thing in that sense, but it is like, if you don't have a driver's license, what sense does it make for the divine to give you a car? If you don't take care of the vehicles that you have already had, what sense would it make for the divine to give you a nice car? If you aren't caring or kind or compassionate at all, what sense would it make for the divine to bless you with limitless overflowing abundance if all you're going to do is hoard it and then turn sour, right? Now, if you seek less than divine energies, they'll give you a car, they'll give you money, they'll give you everything that you ask for, but you best believe you're going to pay for it too, with interest, with loads and loads of interest. But the divine puts us in a space, the divine makes us ready for it. And that's why I feel like things kind of sort of are as widespread and as big as they are. It's because the divine is consenting to all of this, but the divine is consenting to get us ready for what it is that we're asking for. The other side, I don't want to say they came up with a plan, but the other side benefits by putting us in these states of fear and stuff like that and keeping itself alive, right? And so it's like the end goal may be very different. Just like in this card, we got it's a lighter side and it's a darker side. And then we have like this dragon looking thing in the middle. This dragon looking thing is what they agreed upon. Now, the divine didn't agree on the dragon for you to go to the dark side, and the dark side probably didn't agree to the dragon to get you to go to the light side. But this is the compromise, right? And so there are certain things that it's like if you're praying to the divine to escape something, and if you're not getting that escape, there may be a reason, something in this that you haven't yet learned. But that's the key. And even in the key, it's like there are elements of light and dark. Look how dark and dreary it is outside of the keyhole. But inside the keyhole, it's like a lot brighter. Sometimes our prayers get answered in ways that we don't like. But just because we don't like the method doesn't mean that it's not an answer. Anyway, back to this. Back to this. Clouds in the key, that's resolution, and the answer is found through the darkness. It's like a hermit energy, right? And then after the hermit is the wheel of fortune, right? After the moon is the sun. The hermit is a 9. The moon is a 9. The wheel of fortune is a 10. The sun is a 10. The magician is a 1. The 9s are necessary to get to the 1, right? Back to this. So now let's go from, I'm going to open up a different page so I can come right back to these. I just saw, darn it. 1 second. Now I got to find the key. I actually like this. I like this a lot. And this is kind of sort of what I already talked about today. But I think I discovered that when I talk about it from this space, it comes out a little less hot than it does in the other space. But it isn't necessarily different. Oh, I'm starting to get hungry. I made this little fusion dish, I'll call it, last night. And it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it. Also, I went to Starbucks yesterday. Or the day before. I got a matcha lemonade. I've been craving one because we don't have a Starbucks in my hometown. And I've been home for a while. So, like last week, I got a bubble tea, which I haven't had in a minute. That was amazing. This week, I got a matcha lemonade because a Starbucks literally just opened up in my hometown. Excuse me. And it was fine, but I think there was something about the syrup that they used that I didn't really like. But then I had that, and it was like a little off. Just a little bit. It was still edible. It was still good, but it was just a little off. I was like, okay. So the key into the stars. Let's see where this is. Key tree. Key tree oil, like Truly, Petri dish, Cavendish. Key and stars, destined to be known. Goals will be achieved. Now you really want Starbucks. Go for it, Zelda. Get Starbucks. Take your daughter. She'll love it. Maybe. I don't know if she will or not. Come on now. So, again, we move from resolution and the answer is found in the clouds to the key, and then in the key to the stars, destined to be known, and goals will be achieved. What we asked for will be achieved. It's not going to be easy, but I guess people should have thought about how easy it would be before everyone started manifesting it, because that's a thing people don't do. People don't. I mean, I guess we don't necessarily have the foresight, and that's fine. You know, I mean, who would expect it? Who would expect that wishing for world peace in a world where everything is so dank and dark and nasty and behind the scenes? Who would have thought that wishing for world peace would bring all of that to the light so we can take care of it? Who would have thought that, right? It's like if I wish for ice cream to be in my refrigerator, I'm going to have to get up and walk to the fridge and get it. It might be in a tub, so I might have to grab the ice cream scoop and scoop it myself. Oh my gosh, terrible. But the ice cream is in there. Just got to do a little bit to get it. Oh, she's 4. Well, they have like cake pops. The cake pops at Starbucks, honestly overpriced. Everything at Starbucks pretty much overpriced, but they do have cake pops. And they're decent. They got cookies, like little slices of cake. You know, they have some other stuff that's not necessarily coffee. Somebody said something about giving caffeine to kids or kids with coffee. I was like, what? So yeah, that's this energy. This is the space of our prayers being answered, but things aren't just disappearing. Things don't just go away. Because if it just disappeared, if it just went away, we wouldn't learn the lessons that we need to learn. It's like everything is being exposed to us so that we don't do this again in the new space, right? It's like if you want a dog and your parent is like, your guardian is like, your caretaker is like, okay, before I give you a dog, we're going to start with a plant. And if you can water this plant every day, let's assume it's a plant that needs to be watered every day. If you can water this plant every day and open up the window in the morning and then close the window at night, if you can do that, then we'll get you a dog. Let's teach you responsibility with this little thing, and a plant life is still a life. But, you know, people place plants under animals and people. I'm honestly more attached to plants than I am to animals, if I'm being completely 100% honest. Like, I thought I killed a little basil plant because I stripped all of the little basil leaves off of it, and I felt so bad. But the food tasted good. But I don't know. Yeah, anyway. 4:44. Oh, snap, it is 4:44. Thank you for that. It's 3:44 my time, but my laptop is on Eastern time still, so... But yeah, it's the fulfillment of the divine 9 times out of 10 is about putting us in a space to accept it. Another thing that could happen... I'm waiting for 3:45 now. It's fine. Another thing that could happen is, like, if we just get things, we don't appreciate them more often than not. If you just solve someone's problems, like, not the example I want, but let's say that someone has a problem with not spending money, right? Be that on, like, I can't stop spending money at the casino and losing it. I can't stop spending money on cheeseburgers from McDonald's and losing it. What's the dude's name? the dude who's like always eating hamburgers on Popeye, I think, right? Like that dude. He's like, hey, give me some money. I'm not gonna go spend it on hamburgers this time. I promise. And then what do? Of course they go and spend it on hamburgers. And not, of course, as if that person can't change, but of course, in the sense of what has that person done to break that habit? What has that person done to elevate themselves out of that space? What has that person done to free themselves of that specific brand of captivity? Little to nothing? And you know that? Not you know that. Little to nothing. We're not blaming anybody here. That person has done little to nothing. And so if they spend all of the money on hamburgers, it's like, what did you expect? And so the divine is like, okay, you want some money? You want to be able to save? You want to be able to do something else? I'll put you in a space where you come across someone who sees that you have a problem with hamburgers. And that person is going to send you to Hamburgers Anonymous. And in Hamburgers Anonymous, you're going to meet someone else who also struggles with hamburgers, but who has found a way to struggled. You're going to meet someone who struggled with hamburgers. Yeah, exactly. I'll surely pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. It's exactly that. I didn't say it, but that was like, it was in my mind. It was in my mind, but I didn't say it. And it's like, so you go to Hamburgers Anonymous, you meet someone who has been off of hamburgers for 5 years. And this is how they did it. And something about the way this person did it really resonates with you. And the divine put you on this path to get off of hamburgers. And now that you're off of hamburgers, you're getting this money, you're getting that money, you're getting money all over the place. And you're in this space to really discover who you are. You're finding love. You're being valued. You're finding a community where you really shine and that supports you. You're finding all of these things, but you had to get off of the hamburgers first. And that's this energy. We got to get off of the hamburgers before the divine is giving us what it is that we're actually asking for. And that's the thing about the clouds, right? Anyway. And so it's not like you got to do what's necessary to get what it is that you want. It's not just going to come. If it hasn't come yet, it might not just come. I haven't been feeling it as a, oh yeah, we'll just give it to you energy for a minute since like February or like early March. It was like February when I was like, the divine spirit has given us the keys and we need to drive. This is the application of that. And then here we have, I hate when this happens. We have patience. I don't hate when it happens. I was just like, I mean, you're gonna take this how we all take it as it resonates anyway. So if you see patience clarifying this and you're like, okay, I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs and wait, then do that. Because you're gonna do it anyway. Honestly. I want to read patience. Because I do. Because I don't think it's so. There is an element of patience after we've done everything that it is that we need to do within ourselves. Then we sit in this space of waiting. And even when we're waiting, we're not necessarily waiting. Because often when we're waiting, there's other things for us to do. Patience has a different energy than waiting. Waiting is passive. Patience is, this is like a 4 of Swords type energy, a 6 of Swords type energy. It's like with the 4 of Swords, the 4 of Swords is that energy because it's after the 3 of Swords. With the 6 of Swords, it's that energy because it's after the 5 of Swords. It's like we've already fought our fights. We've already done what it is that we need to do. Now we're waiting on divine timing, right? the section of divine timing that requires us to elevate to this space and then wait, like divine timing involves both of those things. Sometimes there is waiting, there's also elevation, and there may be another lesson kind of sort of in between. And that lesson could sort of run through that waiting period at the same time. We never know really who's watching, right? Just like the gentleman who goes down to the port every day and every day just stops and looks at this ship that is beautiful, that is gorgeous and glorious. It's like made by the finest craftsmen in the world. I was going to say in this land, I was going to say in the next 5 lands. It's in the world. Because the cross ended up coming out eventually. Well, the cross came out earlier too, didn't it? And so he's watching the boat just like, this thing is beautiful. It's a shame that it never goes anywhere. The only people who will ever see this ship are the people who come down to the port. So that's me, Bob, and Jill. And it's not Jillian, it's Jillian. Don't get it twisted or she'll get upset. And then one day, because of course the people in the boat, I need to stop doing that. The people in the boat are looking at you like, is this dude like plotting to steal the boat? Like we got another Prince Caspian situation. I think this might have tilted a little bit, or it may have always been this tilted. I don't know. But they're looking at you like trying to figure you out. Maybe. But yeah, they're looking at you trying to figure you out. I forgot where I was going with that. I got it. And so you just notice the boat every day. And then you go about your life doing whatever you do down at the port. Right? And so there's this period of you being observed or watched in the vicinity of exactly what it is that is going to take you to the next step. But if you don't know that you're being watched, you don't know that you're being watched. It's not an if you don't know, you don't know. Let's just assume you don't know. Because if you knew that you were being observed, it would change how you operate. This is how you operate in those spaces outside of public places. It's like there are these spaces where you know you're being observed, and then there's these other spaces where you don't know if you're being observed or not, but somebody is always watching. Always. And it's that someone who will be like, okay, I've seen you, right? So whatever you're doing down at the pier, there could be days that you work. There could be days where you just go down to the pier to relax. Because even though you work there, you do still enjoy the area, right? And it's been observing you. So one day, when the ship is ready to set sail, there's a gentleman or a lady or a person. There's a person, a retainer, waiting outside the boat, dressed very nicely. And this is a very, very nice boat in a not the nicest port at the same time. So maybe you're also wondering, I'm surprised that this boat hasn't been like stripped or hit up or whatever, because it's kind of out of place here. This boat is divinely protected. Ain't nobody gonna come after this boat. And the fools who do get taken care of. Believe you me, they get taken care of. And we're not even gonna ask what happens to those folks, because it's not for us to know. So one day you see someone very, very nicely dressed outside, and they're like, "Oh, good day, sir." And you're like, "Hi." And they're like, "Confused?" And you're like, "Yes, very." And they're like, "Don't be. We'll explain it all, but first, there's someone who would like to see you." And you may be like, "Hold it. I don't know you. I don't know whoever on that boat. I thought this boat was inconspicuous. I don't know what's going on. But they like, don't be alarmed. And something within you just knows to trust this. Because, I mean, the boat was already out of place, so, Or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the Pisces in me that's always waiting for the next grand adventure to begin. Maybe it's because I was raised around Harry Potter, but raised with all of these shows and all of these animes and all of these books and novels of, one day something magical happens and you're off on this adventure and your whole life is changed. And then as I've gotten older, there are stories where the characters are older. So, it's never too... How old was Wilfred? Was that his name from Doctor Who? By the time he finally met the Doctor, he was like an old man. And he never went on any adventures himself, but Donna did. I'm going way into this, but that's fine. This is how my brain works. It's metaphor. Okay? Y'all probably know that by now. If you're new here, this is how my brain works. Metaphors, stories. The morals you have to find if I don't try to highlight them for you. Anyway, something within the man knows to trust. And then he sees the most gosh darn beautiful, exactly like him, not like him, exactly for him thing that he's ever seen. And he knows that it's for him because it's the answer to everything he's been hoping for and wishing for while he's been toiling down at the pier, down at the harbor, down at the pool, down at the port. I forgot the word I was looking for. Down at the port. It's everything that he's ever wished for. And it's so beautiful that it literally brings him to tears. Now, if this man is at a crossroads now. Because he's been offered everything that he's wished for. But in being offered everything that he's wished for, he has to confront himself. He has to determine if he's worthy of accepting it. He has to determine if he's ready to accept it. He has to face his inner saboteur, the part of him that would always self-sabotage, the part of him that always told him he wasn't good enough, even though he knew he was. Because he knows that he's better than this space that he's in. That's why he resonates so hardcore to this glorious ship, even though it's so out of place in this area. Because it speaks to the truth. It resonates to the truth of who he actually is. Who he is beyond what his environment has made him to believe he is. And he can fight his environment all day long. He can fight the people all day long and say, I'm worth more than this. I am better than this. But when confronted with this, it's that, wow, am I really? I know I'm better than that, but am I good enough for this? This is the space that sends, I almost want to cry, almost, but I'm not going to do it. I think it was Pisces season, second or third decan maybe, whenever I said that there are these two scales, right? And our self-worth is here, and then everything we want is on the other side. It's when the Nine of Pentacles came out. It might have been the second decan of Pisces season, maybe. It was somewhere around there, February. I'm pretty sure it was mid to late February, maybe March. Probably mid to late February. When I was like, we're going to be getting something. And we have to know who we are and be so solid in our self-worth that when we come face to face with it, we won't sabotage it because, we won't sabotage it because we don't think we're good enough for it. Because it would be so heartbreaking if that happens. So heartbreaking. Everything that you want also wants you. Why wouldn't it? Everything that is for you that you desire, all of that abundance, it wants to be yours. It wants to be utilized in the space that it was created for. But we always have the choice to not take it, to misuse it and abuse it, and to lose it. Or we have the choice to appreciate it and to allow it to enrich us and just like really go for it and go with it. And even if we do feel like it's a little bit beyond us in the beginning, if we know that it is for us, then it's like there's this spot of growth before we get in that space, but we continue to grow more inside of that space as well. But that's the thing about this patience, right? It's like if we've done everything that we need to do to be seen as ready by the onlookers, by those who bestow these things to us, then yeah, we can be in the space of patience, waiting for when the ship is actually going to dock, right? And that's also a very interesting space to be in, because here's the retainer outside the ship like, hey, we're going to be leaving port tonight, tomorrow, 2 days, in a week. And we've observed you, and it was foretold that a man would come of pure heart and strong character who made some mistakes because he's a human. And we think that that person is you. You know that that person is you. But you can't always see past the mistakes that you make. And so in this moment, to be confronted by that, you don't believe that that person is you. Enter devil energy to convince you that you're not you, even though you know you are. Who are you going to listen to? I don't know. Who have you been listening to is the question, honestly. Who have you been listening to? Because you may be one of the dudes at the port. You may be Jillian. And somebody on the ship is like, Jillian, we understand that Jillian is not your name, but you ain't got to go so hard on these people who don't know that it's Jillian. You ain't got to go to extremes. You can correct them, because that is within your rights. But to go to extremes, Jillian, we don't know if you're ready for this. But that gentleman who's here, meek, humble, amazing, still knows that he's it. My neck just cracked a little bit when I did that. Like, you ain't gotta be like, whatever. It's for you to know who you are, but to still not be so overly inflated. It's for you. Now, Jillian may see you get approached by the retainer. Jillian may have went to the pier, the port, went to the port. I forgot the word again. Jillian may have beat you to the port that day. And Jillian sees this person, and Jillian's like, oh, you're looking mighty nice. Where do you come from? And it's like, oh, I am a retainer of the great whoever, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, I thought that kingdom was a fairy tale. I thought it was made up. Can I get on that boat? And the person is like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but we're waiting for someone else, right? The person is giving you the up and down, but they still gonna put on that smile and be nice. Now, Jillian sees you come down to the port. Jillian is like, she's walking away from the port in a huffy, right? And she's like, don't even bother when you get down there. And you're like, what are you talking about, Jillian? And she's like, it's Jillian! Not Jillian! And she's already been having a rough day because she was turned down. And you're like, oh my gosh, Jillian, girl, I'm sorry. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm like half awake right now. So maybe when you go down and you see the retainer standing outside the boat, you still like, am I like still asleep, or am I like actually here right now? Right. Now, Jillian, you called her Jillian. You called Jillian Jillian. So she wants to see you get turned down just like she was turned down, because she is a little bit down in the dumps, but she feels that it'll lift her spirits a little bit to see you also get turned down. So imagine her fury when you board that ship. That's patience. You have done the work. and are in the place at the time to accept it. She had not done the work, but was in that place before you. But before you get to that place, it is not yet the time. It wasn't the time when Jillian was there because it's not for, sorry, Jillian. I ain't being petty. I am actually sorry to this made up character. It wasn't the time when Jillian was there because it is not for Jillian. You're not early Jillian. You're not late Jillian. Even if you are on time, Jillian, you're still not on time because it's not for you. It will never be your time, Jillian. Because a life on a ship is not what you want. Why are you so upset that you were turned down by the retainer on this ship when you don't want that life? Your work, Jillian, was to discover what it is that you actually want to do and to discover who you actually are, to then go to the place and be in a space to get that life. But Jillian doesn't think that far into it. Jillian is only upset because you called her Jillian and you're getting on this boat and she was turned down from the boat, even though she doesn't even want to be on the boat. Right. And that's how divine timing works. Like, she didn't do the work, so it wasn't for her. It wasn't for her before she didn't do the work. It was never for her because, again, this isn't even what she wants, and the stars are here. This ain't what you've been wishing for, Jillian. Why are you so mad? Why are you so pressed, Panini? Why was Panini so pressed? Always going after Chowder. Chowder was like, I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not your boyfriend. Panini was like, hi, boyfriend. Anyway, that's all of this. I'm still going to read Patience because I wanted to read Patience. I probably am going to be on here. It's already been like, what? It's already been an hour and a half. How? How has it already been this long? I said I'm not going to timestamp. I will. I ain't going to timestamp the first one, but I'll timestamp moving forward. Goodness. What am I looking for? I'm looking for Patience. Patience is number... Look at this cute little synchronicity. Patience is number 16. The Stars is number 16. Can you see that? Patience got a 16 up there? Maybe not. The Stars is number 16. There we go. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. There we go. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. They're both a 16. It's also interesting because Stars is tied to the 8 of... Girl, if this is the 8 of Clubs. I can't tell. No, it's the 8 of Hearts. The Stars is tied to the 8 of Hearts. Which actually makes sense because the 8 of Cups is about walking away in the darkness from something that you had a lot of comfortability with, even though you were beyond that space. But if you're too comfortable to move beyond that space, then you forfeit it, you give it up. It's your life. Do what you want to do. I like the song said. Right? Now let's see. Let's find this 16. Patience is peaceful presence and letting go of desperation. This card shows a beautiful angel holding a clock in the stillness of winter. A beautiful angel holding a clock in the stillness of winter. When that moon card popped out, that had the clock on it. Just randomly. I don't even remember what was at the bottom of the deck when the moon card popped out. And I think the moon popped out for these, but it was face up, so I didn't take it. And then here comes Patience. The moon actually, I think it dropped down right on top of Patience too. I think. Maybe it didn't. Her quiet, peaceful energy is telling you that it's time to release the old urgency and to look at things with a much clearer perspective. Clouds, a much clearer perspective. It's time to peer through the darkness and see the light for you, your light for you. When this card is upright, it's telling you to relax and let go of the single-minded desperation that's been driving you. Don't try to force your will on only one option. When you think there's only one solution to satisfy your need or to make you happy, you are blocking many other potential solutions from coming your way. Let go of the anxiety and be flexible. Be patient, open, and creative. Choose to be peaceful in the present. The universe has more options than you may be aware of. Quiet your mind, broaden your perspective, and let them come through. Let it all come through the keyhole. Let it all step forth from the shadows. What's that? Flashing lights? I don't know how it went from twinkling lights in the sky to flashing lights, but I actually really like that song, even though, um, oh, what is it? Oh, I'm gonna look up the lyrics. But there's one line where he's like, I never thought we would make it this far. As I recall, or as you recall, I really like to show off, or as I recall, you really like to show off. As I recall, you really like to show off, and I never thought that we would make it this far, but what do I know? What do I know? Da 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 da. What do I know? They just say lights, flashy, lights, lights. Yeah, I knew. I thought it was Kanye, but I only know this song because when I was a freshman in high school, I did a cotillion ball. I ballroom danced. Yes, I used to actually dance in the church and sing. And like I was on the drill team for the church, and one of my cousins asked me to be her partner for the cotillion, and so I did it. It was actually pretty fun. That was a past life. I haven't done it in a long time. There was this one part that I'll never forget because so I was in this situation. This is a test of ego, a test of my manliness, put on trial literally seconds before the big moment. So I ain't trying to put nobody out there, but my cousin is a little bit bigger. She's a little bit of a bigger girl. She big boned it, as some people call it. And I wasn't skinny, but you know, when you're a big person, people don't necessarily think that you're strong. It's like it's interesting because sometimes you're big and like you're strong because you're big, but sometimes you're big and just flabby and weak. I don't know. Anyway, there was a lift in the song or in the dance. There was a lift in the dance. And she was like, "Don't lift me because my feet hurt. And if you pick me up and you put me back down, don't lift me." And I'm like, okay. But it's like literally right before I go into this. So I'm like, how do I do, like, what do I do in the choreography where I'm supposed to lift you and like we like do this little turn? So, but she's like, "Don't lift me." And of course, she didn't just kick off her shoes. I told my mom about it later. She was like, "Oh, well, if my feet was hurting, I would have just kicked off my shoes and kept doing the dance." I was like, "Okay, well, I don't know. We was inside, so I don't know." So I'm like going through the motions and I just like not lifting her, but I'm still like turning. And it was like this 1-2 kick out, come back together, turn, 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 and lift. So it's this very like fluid part of the dance that I liked. I was so good at this dance that they put me on the spot and had me do it with this other girl. And my knees were weak, arms spaghetti or whatever. I don't know that song. I couldn't lift her. She was so dense. And I don't know if that's because I was nervous dancing with somebody I don't even know who was so petite. But I'm like, she was surprisingly heavy. I don't know if she was heavy because she was heavy or she was heavy because I was just out of my element, put on the spot. And I was like, that was my favorite part of the dance though. Because it was like this spin, 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 and lift. right? It was just fun. It was a very fun part of the dance. Anyway, I didn't lift my cousin, and I was like, I wonder if people think I'm weak. I wonder if people think I couldn't lift her. But that's not the case. I didn't lift her because she told me that she didn't want to be lifted. And I'm not gonna, like, I can sacrifice my ego because it wasn't even about me. Honestly, I was her partner. It was about her. She was the main participant. I'm just there. I was like the plus one. It was her night, even though it was kind of sort of my night too. And she irritated the mess out of me. I wanted to quit on her several times, but my mama didn't let me. So I ended up sticking with it. Right. They also wanted to put me in this one part where there was like some chair dancing. I was like, I ain't doing that. And I was like, oh, this other dude can do it. And they didn't ask that other dude to do it in the first place because that dude wasn't the most elegant of dancers. And I didn't want to do it. So anyway, I forget about that sometimes. That was a past life. I used to dance and sing and do all kinds of stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't think about it anymore all the time. But you know, in the past, I would think about that sometimes, and I would like be like, man, like I wonder if people thought I couldn't lift her. But that's not what's important. I'm glad that I chose to listen to her instead of from a space of a fragile ego or whatever, being like, well, I'm not going to allow myself to be perceived as weak, even if nobody thought that was the case. And a lot of people probably thought that was the case, but it's fine. It just brings that to mind. That just popped into my mind for some reason. I've been talking for so long I don't even remember. She don't believe in shooting stars, but she believes in shoes and cars. Wood floors in the new apartment. Couture from the store's department. Okay. Oh, there's a bad word. I'm Florida. Trips to Florida. Um. Okay. As I recall, I know you love to show off, but I never thought that you would take it this far. What do I know? Flashing lights. Wait, are the flashing lights the paparazzi? I don't know. I mean, he's talking about the paparazzi at the end, so maybe. I don't know. That part just popped into my mind. And I feel like it was sort of connected to the space of us having a certain perception of a situation. And that may, and how that may or may not be true. Um, Primarily. I don't know. That was a whole long tangent for like seemingly no reason. And I'm gonna just put that timestamp here. I'll say 1:33:30 by the time I get done. Wait, I can actually just edit this as I'm live instead of doing it in a thing and then transferring it over later. Yup, here we go. Now here we go. Now here we go. Let's see. First IDK. Second. And then we'll put third. I told you I was probably gonna end up timestamping anyway. I honestly did not think it would be this long. But I don't know where we're going either, so 1:34:25. Boom. And saved. So this is where we'll start the second one. this isn't necessarily pick one, but if there's something in here from a certain one that resonates and you want to come back to it or something, then you can come back to it. I don't know. Interesting. So we have number 18 and number 32. That's a 9 and a 5. Missing a 4. We have dog. Dog is 18, which is a 9. The cross was a 36, which is a 9. So maybe the 9s are like pretty good. I don't know how I feel about this energy though. The card that came out is the moon. After I was just talking about the moon because there's like the clock and the moon. Right? Here's an angel holding a clock in the winter. Oh my gosh, an angel holding the clock in the winter, talking about the dude at the port, and the whole port metaphor story came about because Bear came out with the ships. And I was like, they hibernate in the winter. It's like there's this boat that's been parked forever, and now it's about to leave. And then enter the man at the port who sees the boat that's been parked forever. Work. This may be a continuation, or it may not be. Here's the moon and the dog. Now, the thing I don't like about the moon and the dog, if there is a shadow energy to this, it could be just like being loyal to things that are not loyal to you. It's a loyalty that's not reciprocated. It's a loyalty that's not appreciated. It's very much so, it feels like someone taking advantage of another, knowing how loyal that person is. And so maybe in the past, we were unquestioningly or loyal to things that we shouldn't have been as loyal to as we were. Not saying if somebody else cheating, you should go out and cheat. But if somebody else is cheating and you know they cheating, like, why are you still there? Right? It's like somebody was like, oh, I feel like it's, some people are like, oh, well, you're cheating on me, so I'm going to go out and cheat on you. It's like, or like if you don't want to be cheated on, you can just leave the situation and not try to like get even or get back. Right? You can just leave, or you can create your own karma. I don't know how karma works. I ain't invent the system. But I wonder if an eye for an eye, like, if that's like, well, this person did this, so I'm going to go out and do the same thing, karma free, because they did it first. I wonder if they did it first holds up in the karmic court of universal law. I would be tempted to say no, but what do I know? What do I know? On the other side, though, the dog can be loyalty. Dogs can also be protectors, like guard dogs. Dogs can also be directors, like seeing eye dogs. Like dogs can be like emotional support animals, service animals, or guard dogs, or protectors. Dogs can kind of sort of fill a lot of roles. And they're also loyal. Sometimes dogs are loyal to people that dogs shouldn't be loyal to. It's like your owner treats you like crap. But you're still loyal to that owner? Now some dogs some dogs got they breaking points too, and they like, you know what? They say not to bite the hand that feeds you, but you barely feed me anything, and all you do is beat me and abuse me. So I might have to stick up for myself today. And then dog attacks their owner, right? Sometimes for good reason, and we just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that dog would attack that owner. Well, what was the owner doing to the dog, right? Now I don't want to victim blame. But some people don't be treating people right, and then they be surprised when they come across misfortune. Anyway, another thing is like, because the dog is associated, it's with the color green. I haven't read the book to see if there is a correlation between the colors and the chakras. I just noticed it. There are some red ones, there are some green ones, some blue ones, and some purple ones. I don't know if there's any orange ones, but or yellow ones. I don't think so, but It's heart. It's a loyalty. It's loyal to the heart, right? Also, the heart is a space of knowing oneself. And that's the thing about this dog. The dog, and with the clock being on the moon, every dog has its day. Clear as day. Every dog has its day. And there is this, it feels like there is this energy of like something being loyal to you, or you being loyal to something, even if that loyalty isn't seen. And it isn't necessarily in the vein of, like I said earlier, being loyal to something that doesn't deserve your loyalty. Now, being loyal to something that doesn't deserve your loyalty is because of the way that whatever treated you, probably, if you're not met with that loyalty. That's not to say that somebody or something doesn't deserve loyalty, but our loyalty, like, we still need to have healthy boundaries, basically, is what I'm trying to say. We still need to have healthy boundaries. And so, I'm sorry. Um, it's almost giving me the energy of the people on the ship, right? I was like, there are these observers that you don't see, who are kind of sort of watching things, and so it's like, and like when I said the things that you want also want you. I don't know if things can have emotions or feelings, but I think it can. I think they can. If money, if abundance is a frequency, and money is a frequency tied and attached to things, can money be happy to be in the hands of someone who will put it to good use? If that money is going to make impacts on other people's lives and on the world, if that money is going to lead to something good, can that money be happy? It's a weird question, isn't it? But if it's tied to a frequency, if it's tied to an energy, maybe happiness is more or less anthropomorphizing it a little bit when you give a human characteristic or trait to something that is not human. I mean, some people say we do it to our animals, our pets. Some people do say we do it to our pets. It's like, your dog doesn't love you, your cat doesn't hate you, they don't feel emotions. You're just projecting your emotion onto these animals. It's like it brings and it was a white dog too. There's this one scene of this one show when it was like a dog got hurt, and then somebody was like, oh no, like your dog isn't in pain, your dog doesn't feel any. He was like, so she was like, oh, like, I'm worried about my dog. She's like, oh no, don't worry about your dog, like, your dog is completely fine, it doesn't feel pain. She's like, oh, and he's like, you like, and your dog doesn't feel emotion, so it doesn't love you or anything like that. And she was like, what? And then he was like, oh, I'm just kidding, because he ended up like kicking the dog into the sun or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh. I need to watch the last season of that show. I still haven't finished it. I saw a picture of one of the characters from that show yesterday. He was in his male costume, or in the male uniform. It was interesting. So, like, these little, like, yesterday to today synchronicities. A little bit. Just like little funny nods to stuff like that. Um, Interesting. But yeah, it's like, I don't think it necessarily feels happy, but I think an energy can, I don't know how to say this. I do know how to say it. I think happiness isn't necessarily what I would call it. But I think sometimes an energy can be excited to be approached and used in a higher vibration, in a greater form of its sort of spectrum and range, right? Instead of a lower one. Or it can be excited to be used in a capacity that it rarely gets to be used in, or something like that, right? And so it's almost like the frequency of all of this abundance, as we become more and more and more the person who will use it in the ways that not only further and benefit ourselves, but also further and benefit others and the world at large. It's like now the money is excited to come to us. The earth is excited for us to have the money. The parts of the people, the divine spark within others who on their path will be positively affected by us, they're excited for us to have this because we're going to use it to affect them. It's like all of this excitement, all of this stuff, it wants us to have it as badly as we want to have it, because it wants to be used to put good out into the world. It wants to be used to tip the scale on the other side. It wants to be used to elevate us. And it's like it magnetizes it more and more and more to us the closer we get to it, the closer we get to becoming. Isn't that Michelle's book, Becoming? I might get Netflix because they put Korra on Netflix. And I was like, I mean, I liked Avatar, but I actually watched all of The Legend of Korra, and I personally enjoyed Korra more. It was a little bit more, it was darker, more adult. And I was like, man, if they put Korra on Netflix, Netflix might finally get my wallet. But they have Becoming on Netflix too, and I wanted to watch it. But it's like, as excited as we are for the future is just as excited for us. But we have to get there. And that's kind of sort of what I'm feeling with the dog and this moon card. It's like the things that we don't even have yet, the things that we don't even see, that are loyally waiting for the day that we become who it is that we're supposed to be. For the retainer on that ship, whose princess is sleeping, napping, resting, recuperating, plotting out her next move. For the retainer that has been looking out and has been seeing you and Bob or whoever and Jillian. The retainer is excited about you because the retainer knows that you are going to be a key integral component piece of whatever the plan is, and also this princess's happiness. And also your happiness. Right? And so that's this loyalty that we don't even see. It's this excitement. Dogs can also be very excitable creatures. That tail wagging, right? Chino wags his tail so hard you can hear it. And I'm like, that don't hurt. As hard as your tail is hitting the wall, it sounds like it's really hitting the wall. That doesn't hurt at all. He's a tough little dog. I've accidentally stepped on him a few times, and he'll get up and move, but he doesn't cry. I mean, just because he doesn't cry doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, though. Sorry. But that's what I'm getting from this. I am going to look it up and see what they give me for dog and moon. I'm starting to get hungry. I got a little bit of that stuff I made last night left. This is so interesting. This is very interesting. All of these karmic planets, heavy karmic planets, are about to go direct next month. I don't think Jupiter is necessarily karmic, but some people might call it karmic. Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are all about to go direct soon. And if you've been diligent, this is what my assumption is. If you've been diligently working while they've been retrograde, and if you've been cleaning up all of the stuff that they've been highlighting and illuminating in their retrograde, then you get the rewards from it. If you haven't been, it's like how it might have been on the other channel, but I was getting the feeling that like on these wheels of fortune, there's something snagged on the wheel of fortune, and if you don't unhook it before this thing tries to snap back into place, it is going to move your wheel in reverse. It's like at this point where it's like it's stretching. This thing is as elastic as it's gonna be, and it's like wrapped around the wheel, and your wheel has stopped, and the divine is trying to put in the space of clouds and the key. The divine has been putting us in a space to unsnag our wheels of fortune before whatever this is pulls it back. If you've been unsnagging your wheel, it's probably going to move forward with less resistance. If you don't unsnag your wheel, it might just go reverse hardcore because it's been snagged. And it's kind of sort of that energy, right? When those planets go direct, if you've cleaned up whatever you needed to clean up within your own personal life, maybe expect some good stuff. If you haven't cleaned it up, that's why I was like, oof. Because I don't think it's necessary. I mean, nothing is necessarily good or bad. It's what we do with it always. But there are some things that might hit play that you might wish were still on pause. Or maybe you've been cleaning it up. Maybe you've been doing it. Maybe you've been focusing on you. Maybe not. Who knows? Dog. Who brought that dog onto our island? That dog. What's that? Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island? Let's see. This is Dog and Moon. 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 Dog and Moon is emotional friendship and creative colleagues. That's not what I was expecting. But I think it's like it feels like that creative colleague type of energy. It's like allies in places that you didn't even necessarily expect. Or in its shadow, it could be us being loyal to things that don't deserve our loyalty. But if we were loyal to things that don't deserve our loyalty, the clouds would have given us an opportunity to come into more of ourselves, to put us in a space to establish healthy boundaries. Which would be the key that we need, one of the keys that we need to unlock our future moving forward, right? It's like the divine also isn't going to give us something if we're just going to give it to somebody else who is going to put us in a place that's where we're worse off than what we were in before, surprisingly. It's like, how can I get everything that I wanted and be worse off than when I didn't have any of this? You'd be surprised. Caring connections. So it's not that shady stuff. I think it is the second one. Here's that emotional friendship and creative colleague. It's like there is something. It's like you have everything that you have been doing has not been unnoticed. Remember at the beginning of the video when I was like, what's like the last thing I did? Your effort, your work has not been done in vain. Like that's the last thing I did over here. And it's very much this energy. But instead of your effort and your work, I'll say that whatever you've been doing in the dark, you are gaining support. Right? So if you've been shady behind closed doors, you got a whole bunch of energy that just loves messing with shady people. Right? It's just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. You got this energy that loves to give people their own medicine. If you've been good, again, like we've talked about, it's like I don't think like energies can necessarily be excited, but again, there's something about how these concepts align to different frequencies within the band of energy that they can occupy, right? And the Just Desserts is full of energy that loves to happen to people who deserve it, who thought they'd been getting away. And the energy of abundance and love loves to be in alignment for people who will appreciate it, value it, and who have worked for it. It's the energy of shortcuts, right? If you've been taking shortcuts, somebody's coming to collect. If you've been putting in the work, somebody's coming to reward. You're gonna get collected on, or you're gonna get rewarded. But that's this energy. And then we have caring connections here. So I'll keep it more positive because that's how things typically turn up on this channel. all of your hard work, all of the tears, all of the growth, it has not been in vain. It's like you've been making, as you've been going through it and as you're coming out of it, you're just making the everything on the other side just more and more and more excited because they see how dedicated you are to this. It's like a surprise party, right? It's like you're having this surprise party. And what's interesting about the surprise party is like you walk to the back of the house, get something, and while you're in the back of the house getting something, everyone like comes out. It's like they yell surprise when you're about to leave the house instead of when you first walk in the house. Now, something about the surprise party, this person was already giving it away, right? It's like, hey, like let's go out somewhere. And you're like, okay, word, cool. It's like, well, why don't you put on something nice? And you're like, if you're me, you're like, why? Like, am I gonna see somebody? Like, am I about to be surprised? Am I gonna be surprised? In my life, the answer to that question more often than not is no. I went to the store with my mom the other day, like a month ago or 2 months ago, maybe like a month and a half ago. And I was like, all right, I'm ready. She was like, is that what you're wearing? Like, why don't, like, you might see somebody that you want to, like, hug or something. And I'm like, in this day and age, who's hugging people? Who am I going to see? Nobody. Nobody. Didn't see anybody. But that's me. One of these days, the surprise and the miracles will be there. So I will not quit thinking that they will be. Although people say it's what you don't expect. So it's like someone expected for there to be a surprise party, but then they walk into the house and there's no surprise. And like, oh. So I guess I will just go change then for whatever reason. Right? And then while they're back there changing and getting ready, it's like we funnel everybody in or everyone comes out of this other room. Right? We turn the lights back off. And then someone comes out and like, babe, why'd you turn the lights off? It's dark. I can't see. Turn them back on. And he's like, haha, okay. And then surprise. And then there's the surprise party, right? The one that you expected but you didn't think was going to happen. It's been loyal to you. It's excited and it's ready for you to be ready for it. Because it's ready to cooperate with you. I don't know what it is, but it loves you very much. And some of this stuff doesn't feel like people, right? So it's like, how can a mansion, how can an automobile, how can money, how can abundance, how can the stuff, how can a location love somebody and be eagerly awaiting their arrival? You'd be surprised. Maybe the love through all of that stuff is, it's almost like echoing the love of Gaia, echoing the love of the universe, echoing the love of the earth, echoing the love of the divine. At you finally being in a space to love and appreciate you, and for you to claim everything that you've been wishing for. It's like, I guess, why wouldn't it be excited, right? I don't think the lottery can necessarily be excited, but if someone wins the lottery and it completely changes their life, like, wouldn't that money be excited to completely change someone's life? I don't know. I would be if I were a dollar bill. If I were a dollar bill that someone less fortunate came upon and I brightened their day, I would be a very excited dollar bill. If I was a dollar bill that was just one out of many, many, many dollar bills that's not appreciated at all, that just like sits in someone's pocket and that they don't even care about, and then it goes through the washer and it gets like torn up, shredded or whatever, and then like tossed away in the garbage, I wouldn't be a very happy dollar bill. I wouldn't be as happy as if, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, right? I don't know. I'm not going to read Caring Connections because I don't feel like I need the clarification. Oh my gosh. I'm like shook right now. I've had all of these yesterday to today synchronicities. Well, first was the day before yesterday, I think, to today synchronicity with Brisbane, and then was the yesterday to today synchronicity through that show I was just talking about. This is a today to today synchronicity. I've seen it a few times since I've woken up this morning, and it's this. This is what I've been seeing today. And it's been popping up all together. This is what I've been seeing today. The sun, the moon, and the stars. And it's multiple in this deck. It's plural. Stars. The sun, the moon, and the stars. And it just came out again. I almost kind of want to cry. Because this is like really, really beautiful. The sun, the moon, and the stars. And it just happened. And the sun is coming out with the birds, which are the divine messengers. The birds are... It's the box art for this deck. The birds. And here they are coming out with the sun. And we have the sun, the moon, and the stars. And I've been talking about specifically hawks and falcons. And I saw a post on Facebook like yesterday or the day before. There was like rep yo elementary school, and somebody was like me Park, and I went to a school called Northeast, and we were the Northeast Falcons. That was like our little school mascot. It was the Falcons. And I was like, wow, I forgot that we were the Falcons, because I've been talking about peregrine falcons are the fastest animal on the planet. They have diving speeds of like 180 something miles per hour or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh. And then the next day it was about kestrel hawks. And kestrel hawks are also about speed, but kestrel hawks teach focus and precision. And the thing with the kestrel hawks is it's also about picking the right or going for the right opportunity at the right time. And what did I just say about Jillian and the gentleman? It's at the right time. The sun, the moon, and the stars again. And it's interesting because like the moon came out face up, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna take the moon because it's face up, and then it came out face down because I wouldn't take it face up. So it's like, okay, you ain't gonna take me face up, fine. The birds and the dog. We got animals and these larger celestial bodies, but the stars, that's for us to discover ourselves. Our guides, our ancestors, spirit. It can give us the sun and the moon because there are these larger bodies, but the stars, we have to find ourselves, right? It's like sometimes you got to look for them, sometimes you don't have to look for them. If you live in an area where the sky is just lit with stars because there's no light pollution, then it's one of the things on my bucket list to go and see. My bucket list isn't very long, but I want to like actually see the stars one day. And there's a place in Peru, Bolivia, Central America, South America, somewhere where there's a great salt flat, and I want to see that too. And I have a friend who actually went to go see that salt flat, and I was like, oh my gosh, because he posted pictures on Facebook. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to see this for years. And he was like, same, and I'm here. Those are like pretty much the two things on my bucket list. Going to E3 used to be on my bucket list back in the day, but the game developers don't even go to E3 anymore. Nintendo's been doing their own thing for a minute. Sony did their own thing last year. What's interesting, I was in California 2 years ago, 2018. I was in California like the week before E3. I was like, oh no, it's on my bucket list, and I was this close. Now, I ended up taking an edible and being on a futon for like 2.5 days, so I probably would have missed it anyway, because it just took me out. And I said, I don't know why people enjoy this. I feel like I don't have any control over my body, and I hate it. And I didn't even know you could trip on edibles and marijuana. But apparently, if you do enough of it, you can. And what that experience was for me, it was all about timelines. The first part was about timelines and how there are certain things that are destined for us, but if we're not in a space to claim them, we can miss them. And it was like there were like three timelines with three different scenes. Timeline one scene. Timeline two scenes. Timeline three, all three scenes. And there were these points in between scenes, right? And then the second part of the trip, and this is like a few months before I had my darkest night. This was like June, July 2018. Darkest night was like end of October into early November 2018. Um, and the second part was, it was like I was shown all of these moments from when I was a kid to older, and whenever I felt alone or isolated or other, it was like my mom. Oh my gosh, I might cry. Ah, but that's how it hit me because I feel like there's so many times when it's like I look at life and I look at all the stuff that I choose to keep to myself. And goodness, whenever I'm gonna have to go tell her that I love her. Whenever it got unbearable, she was there. And in that moment, while I'm like tripping off of edibles that I didn't even like, I ate way too much and I knew it was. And my cousin was like, "Oh, you're a big dude. You'll be fine." In that moment when I'm so annoyed and frustrated because I can't even move my body because all of my joints are just like tingling. And my eyes are closed because just like vision is sensory overload. I guess whenever I felt that paralyzed emotionally and mentally, my mom was there. And even when I was tripping on the couch or on the little futon, my mom came in. She was laughing at me, of course. She was like, "Are you all right, son? Are you doing okay in here?" But in that moment, it was just like, she's always there for me, and I'm not alone. And my family is always there for me. I went there with my family to see a cousin that we hadn't seen in years, who was involved in this situation where when you're of a certain complexion, the system doesn't care about you. They don't care if it's self-defense. He got this, I don't even want to go into his whole story, but he got a scholarship to go to this one place. He was at odds with pretty much a whole bunch of people, tried to tell people, nobody listened. He was put into a space to defend himself. They locked him up, threw away the key, didn't even care. And he went to the people who were supposed to be there to protect him, right? My aunt sent him all the way out there where we have a few family members, but even the family is still a little bit of a ways away, assuming that the people that she released him to the care to, that they would care enough about him to at least listen to him. They didn't care. He defended himself. Everybody was fine, but he got time for it. And so when he got out, we all went, not all, but a lot of us went down there to get him out or to be there. And so I was with family in the house. Um, and yeah, in that moment, it was just like, wow, like she's high key been there this whole time. I'm not alone out here. I got family. I got people that love me and care about me, even though I don't utilize them as much as I could or probably should. And what's also interesting is that the summer before that, summer 2017, the summer before that is when we stopped talking. So it was like May, I stopped talking to her. I didn't reach back out to my mom until like September or October. That's the longest I've ever gone. And I'm like such a mama's boy, if you can't tell. But it's just like, what really matters in life? What really matters? And with the dog and the moon, it's also about realizing the people who have been there through some of these things. In these spaces where we couldn't, it's like, I feel like in the moment we appreciated the love, but when we step outside of that moment, then we kind of sort of forget. But yeah, it was a whole experience, and I vowed to never do any marijuana ever again because I hated it. I literally had to crawl to the bathroom at like 3 or 4 in the morning because my joints were still like tingly. Pull myself onto the toilet. It was fine. I was on that futon for 2 days. I missed LA twice. Because of that. And then like E3 was like the week after that. So I missed E3 too. But anyway. The sun and the birds. This is just knowing that brighter times are ahead. And it's like the sun is coming out with the birds now because we chose to find the light in the darkness here. Maybe this is the past, this is the present, and this is the future. And that's why this patience is out here in the past. Of like, this isn't going to be an immediate resolution. Like, it would be amazing if it were, but it's not going to be that. Excuse me. So yeah, brighter days are coming because we chose to see the light. And even when it didn't make sense for us to keep fighting the fight, even if it could have been excusable for us to slip up and do whatever or to just walk away, we remained loyal. We remained there. Maybe we had a moment or two. Maybe we had to take 2 days here and there. But what really matters has always stood. And the birds, the messengers of the divine, are coming to reward us for that. And our reward, if we were loyal in spaces where that loyalty wasn't reciprocated, our reward could be something completely different. Which is why this patience card said, be open, right, to whatever this caring connection is. You may be in a connection where you find out that the person didn't care, but now that you are moving on to your sun, and now that they may still be stuck in the clouds or in the darkness, now they want to care, but it's like they care because you're coming into this more so than they care because they actually care about you. It's like they care because you're their ticket out of that. Or maybe not. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Oh, wow. I didn't expect to cry today. Oh, look. It's 4:58. I thought it was 4:56 for a second. That's fine. So let's look into birds and the sun. I'm hungry. Wait, I didn't do the numbers. Birds is Rods is 11. 28? No, 28 is the gentleman. 12? 21? I should know what birds is. Yeah, birds is 12. And then the sun is 31. 12 and 31. Is that a 19 in between 12 and 31? Hey Siri, what is 12 plus 19?
12 plus 19 is 31.
31! And the sun is number 19. So there's a sun in between the birds and the sun. And that sun in between the birds and the sun is you. If you decided to become your own light. If you didn't, it probably don't resonate for you. Birds in the sun. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Right over the horizon, brighten up the dark times. Boop doo. I don't know. 31. This was the only entry on the second page. I think these posts were made in 2018, which is interesting because, I was just talking about 2018. The sun, the moon, and the stars. Can you believe it? I guess I can. Well, I really didn't expect for the sun, the moon, and the stars to come out. Even when I got the moon and the stars, I had already forgotten about the sun, the moon, and the stars until I saw the sun. I'm like, oh my gosh, the sun, the moon, and the stars. For those who have been patient and faithful, this caring connection is coming in. Personally delivered. That's why the retainer of this fancy ship is standing outside. Like, hey, are you ready for your whole life to change? And like right now, like I'm not, like I don't know if I'm ready. Yeah, but am I ready? Like, am I actually ready? Like, do I want it? Yes. Am I ready? I don't know. And the retainer is like, you're ready. And you're like, I'm ready. Just breathe. Take it a day at a time. Motivational speaking and successful conversation. Successful conversation. I guess the birds are messengers and the sun is positive, right? Oh wow, maybe there's gonna be some conversation happening that has been long overdue, but right on time at the same time. Man holding a heart. Psych. Oh, cute. Okay. And here's another 12. So we see 12, 12, because the birds are a 12. There's a sun in between them. 12 is the hangman, so there may have been a time of waiting. But not only waiting, also alchemizing. Also getting to know the self. I didn't timestamp this. That's fine. I'm not going to timestamp it. I ain't timestamping this. I forgot. I mean, you can like zoom through the video and see if I have only 1 up or 2 up or 3 up. Shoot. The card that came out is a 12. I'm using the Energy Oracle cards. I've seen this card so much. It was gone for a minute, but she's back. The Temple Path. The Temple Path. The Temple Mother Freaking Path. The Mother Freaking Temple Path. The Mother Temple Freaking Path. I mean, the Temple Path says it all. The sun, the moon, and the stars. The Temple Path with the birds, like caring connections and patience. This is what you've been waiting for. This is what we've been preparing for. If we've been doing the work, congratulations. Just take it. Just take it. Take it. I don't know. I just want to keep saying, like, take it. Like, take it. Take it. Take it. Don't give it up or let it go by or tell the retainer no, even though she knows that you want to say yes and you know you want to say yes. Take it. Like, I don't know what else to say, but take it. Take it. Please take it. Or not. It's your life. Do what you want to do. The Temple Path. I mean, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. I guess it really couldn't have been this dark without it being bright on the other side. Of course, I'm always stubborn. I'm like, well, I don't think it necessarily has to be dark in order for it to be light. Like, why can't it just be light? Right? But without the darkness, you don't appreciate the light. Whatever. Right? Not whatever. It is accurate, factual information, apparently, because humans. What do we have again? The scythe, the cross, and the gentleman at the bottom of the deck with cornucopia. Caring connections, cornucopia. Crossroads. C words. The Temple Path. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. I think on Drag Race, I can't remember where, but they would play that sometimes. Like, this is the beginning of the rest of your lives. I think it was like at the end of the episode where they would all dance after somebody went home and got eliminated, but it wasn't them, so they were happy. And then the person was on the backstage crying. It's like, Jillian, girl, you don't even want this. And if you fix your attitude, I got the attitude adjuster up there, and I did bang the gavel today. I'll bang the gavel over here too, because I just said, fix your attitude, Jillian. And the gentleman is still at the bottom of the deck. This, oh, y'all just saw all of that, didn't you? Oh, well. I got this on a trip to Hannibal, Missouri for the Tom Sawyer days. It's the attitude adjuster. I don't know why I got this. It used to have a little string. It was like twine or something, so it came apart. This is like the one souvenir I got. I don't know why I was like, oh, I want the attitude adjuster. But that also came out on the other side too. And then I was like banging the gavel. The attitude adjuster. Oh my gosh, this is a log on a stick. I got a memory from Facebook. Synchronicities all over the place today. Okay, I'll take it. I mean, the sun, the moon, and the stars multiple times in one day. Only a foolish fool wouldn't take this leap. No, the fool, he would. The fool is like, oh, I'm not leaping. I know. Like, this ain't a leap of faith. Like, ain't no faith in this. I know. There's a difference between faith and knowing. A leap of faith implies that you don't necessarily know that you'll be caught on the other side, but you believe it wholeheartedly, right? There's no questions in this. This is what it is. This is the fool that knows for sure. It's like that one video of the baby that just like jumped off the bed. It's like there's this baby, I think it might have been a Vine, this baby that walks to the edge of the bed, looks down, and then just like jumps off. I was like, oh my gosh. It's so funny though. Oh snap! Hold up. Before attachment comes and takes it all away, that door to romance that was at the cut. Door to romance and attachment. Final card, please. Oh, there's the man holding a heart. No, that's the man holding a coin at the bottom. Wait, was that the man holding a heart? Yeah, there was the man holding a heart. I saw him. There's the man holding a heart and the man holding a coin. Oh, no, it's the door to value now. Or the man holding a coin was down there. Okay. Yep, let's take them. Bottom of the deck is appreciation. Appreciation. And appreciation is number 15. I've just been like on an upswing today. After I submitted that assignment, I'm like, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling so good. I'm going to go on the Legacy channel. The sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay. Work. So we have another 10, I believe. We have another 10. And we have another 9. We started with 10, 9, 10. It was the scythe, the cross, and the gentleman. The scythe, the cross, and the gentleman. 10, 9, 10. And now we have a 9, 10. It's a 45, 9, and a straight up 10. The 10 is storm warning. The 45 is this handsome fella right here that I've been seeing quite a bit lately. The man holding a heart and storm warning. Brace yourself. Because, whew, take it. Take it. And again, bottom of the deck is appreciation. This is like the divine, like, we appreciate all of your hard work. And we know it hasn't been easy. And we couldn't tell you exactly what was up, because if we tell you what's exactly up, it ruins the test, right? It's not really growth if we tell you the answer. So we did go a little quiet for a minute, but we had faith that you'd figure it out. And we're so excited to be finally giving you exactly what it is that you want, because you've made yourself ready for the having of it. Work. So whoever it is, I'm ready. Like that patient said. Not keep your options open, but don't be so focused on one solution, because it may not be what you thought it would be. And I ain't do all of this to not claim it. So that's why it was like, what, 2 days ago? Like the night before last. It was just like, release it. Or it might have been 3 days ago now. It was just like, release it. And I was like, okay. So I released it. I had some interesting dreams that night. And then I caught my light back to me, my energy back to me. And maybe it's important for me to have all of my energy right now. And so that's why it was like, release it. Because then I allowed it all to just come back, right? And then the next day I was like, wait, was that release the right thing to do? And then by that evening I was like, you know what? I can hang on to the frequency without hanging on to the face, to the name, to the specifics. I can hang on to the frequency and not need the specifics, because it can be fulfilled in any way, right? And what I want is that fulfillment. So if the fulfillment comes in the way that, it was prophesied, or that it was thought to, all the better. If it doesn't, I'm good either way. We got number 30, number 9, and number 35 coming out at the bottom of the deck. That's Lily and Flower. So flowers and flowers. Maybe lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of apologies in the space. It was like, man, things have been so dark and so heavy, and I was too heavy for a journey this light. A lot of us were too heavy. And that's what this time has been about. It's about clearing that internal heaviness. And it's about lifting those internal things. And it's also about giving a F about people who are not you. Because that's kind of sort of what happens when you open up your heart a little bit. You begin to care about people. Mind-blowing. Revolutionary. Who'd have thought? We've seen, oh, snap. Okay. All right. Now, I told y'all that the lady freed herself from that tower, did I not? Told y'all. The lady freed herself from that tower. The gentleman went down to the pier, the port, because some of the gentlemen went from tower to 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 tower, and they will probably continue to go to more and more and more and more and more and more and more towers until they get the lesson. The gentleman, our gentleman, went down to the port. And while the gentleman was at the port, literally right there, his lady was right there on the ship. He was at the port every day. Did not know that the lady that he thought he was going to rescue from a tower was right there on the ship, already ready to go, but she was like recuperating, right? And getting herself together. Which is what he was also doing. He was recuperating. He was getting himself together. He was probably devastated that his princess wasn't in that tower, because that's what he was told. I mean, his whole world probably fell apart because the things that he was told growing up and where he thought he was going to find success and happiness, it wasn't there. It's not easy to go through that either. It's not easy to free yourself from the tower, and it's also not easy to show up and see the tower already crumbled down to the ground before you. It's like, what do I do? And they're both kind of in that space of what do I do? The princess, because she's out of the tower and the Prince Charming didn't save her. So it's like, is my happy ever after still a happy ever after if I freed myself? What do I do next? He's like, what do I do now? The tower, the lady, the tower, the heart, and the lady are the first three cards that fell down. Oh, got the order mixed up. And all of this is behind the lady. Like I said, she already liberated herself. This tower is in her past. The tower, the heart, and the lady. Boom. There you go. She already gone. Oh my gosh, the lady's looking at me. Wait, I gotta look this way. Hey, lady. The lady is number 29. The heart is number 24. The tower is number 19. Here is that 19 that was in between the birds and the sun. Here is that 19. It was a tower. But this tower had to fall in order for the light of the true sun to peek through. It's like in Chicken Little, when he's like, the sky is falling! And they're like, no, it's not. But then they discover that their sky has been replaced. Right? The falling of that fake sky is the tower that allows the true sun to now come down onto the land. And then we have 29 is an 11, and this last card is an 11. So today we've seen the 11, we've seen the 22, which was Crossroads a few times, and we saw the 33, which was, I don't remember what the 33 was, but we saw the 33. I know we did. 667. It was the key. 33 was the key. 33 was the key. 22 was the crossroads. The 11 is the rods. And the lady is looking at the rods. Last time I saw the rods, it felt like logs to build a log cabin. Speaking of the log theme. Oh, the log thing started because I had a memory on Facebook of when I went with a good friend of mine to a little park area last year, a year ago today, in fact. And there was this like fallen tree or a log on the ground. And I shared the memory on my Facebook, and I was like, even though I didn't hear you, I see you. Talking to the log, because they say if a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, does it make a sound? So I was like, even though I didn't hear you, I see you, right? And then here's the rods, and so it's like the only thing that freed the lady from this tower was self-love. She had to love herself enough to give up her potential happy ending, her potential happily ever after, by keeping herself small and under attack to be rescued by somebody else. She had to love herself enough to be like, you know what? I ain't doing that. So I'm going to put this tower behind me. That tower was also her home for a while. But with these rods, she can now go out and build her a new home. Sorry, it's this way. She can go out and build her own home. And the home might not start out as luxurious as that tower was. But you know what can live in that home that didn't live in the tower? Love. And some people say, what's love got to do with it? Some people say everything. Some people say nothing. Hence why they ask, what's love got to do with it? But yeah, that's this. This was actually kind of sort of mega beautiful. And I enjoyed it. If you like not look past, right? I feel like sometimes we got to provide multiple perspectives just in case if somebody ain't necessarily there yet, because everything is more or less timeless. What is time? It's a social construct invented by man. That is also tied to the natural seasons and cycles of the world. Seasons naturally occur, time naturally happens, things naturally grow in the spring and naturally die in the winter. Bears hibernate when it's time for them to hibernate, and the rivers freeze over. Anyway, this was gorgeous. Very glad I did this, and I will catch y'all later. I'm going to go find me something to eat. I finished one assignment today, submitted it. I am going to write up the skeleton for the next assignment so I can submit this. Then I'll have 2 left. I can finish this class. Is it this? One of these is bad. I think it's that one. I have 2 left. And then I can move on to the next class, and I can put this behind me and come into my everything. And there are still wonderful things happening in the world right now for lots of people. And it's been a space of preparation for sure. For sure. I'm not who I was months ago. I wouldn't be speaking like this months ago. Some of it, yeah. Some of it, no. I wasn't really using my voice. I wasn't. So everything, I personally, in my own experience of the boundless potentiality of what could have happened in this time, a lot of what I needed to get out of the time where the clouds rolled in, I got, because I chose to continuously show up as best as I can and look at stuff instead of pushing it to the side and ignoring it. We all do it different ways, though, right? There's no one way that's the right way for everyone, because we all have our own way. Ergo, so too, therefore, the temple path. Many paths to many temples, right? Oh,